like, Nate, why are you so excited? I'm so excited because I got this opportunity, and I feel really blessed because I'm not going to go too deeply into my story, but just the way that God has lifted me up and He's brought me to this point is a beautiful thing, you know. And if you went back and you told like my 8th grade teachers, my high school friends, their families and stuff like that, that I'd be doing this and speaking to you guys tonight about what I'm going to talk to you about, you see a lot of jaws drop. You know what I mean? Their minds would be blown. So it's great that I have this opportunity, and I'm excited about it. But one thing that gets me really excited about life is that the thing about life is that it doesn't really matter how you start. What's important is how you finish. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's any of you in here. I know at least some of you in here can feel me on this, but I didn't have the best start. But I'm looking forward to having a strong finish. You feel me, Sean? Good. So that's gonna be my main focus tonight is telling you guys what happened to me from going from that bad start to how I'm gonna try to plan for my good finish. Okay? So Aristotle, you know, some of you know I'm big on philosophy, right? Socrates and Aristotle. So, and some of you from my class, right? All right. So Aristotle teaches us that the educated man versus the uneducated man there's just as big of a difference between them as there is between the living and the dead. Okay? He stresses this importance of education. And I agree. In my life, the thing that really kicked me off was education. That's what changed everything, was knowledge. It was the knowledge that I lacked. It wasn't necessarily my drive or anything like that, because I had the ambition. I just had it in the wrong areas of life, maybe, you know? So it was really just the knowledge and what to do with that ambition and the direction to go in. So the other thing Aristotle teaches us is that we just learned about this, so I hope you guys don't forget yet, especially you, Ben, is there's the that's and the whys, right? Remember, it was just today, man. So, all right, so the that's and the whys. So what Aristotle teaches us is that, you know how you got little kids, some of you got cousins, nieces, nephews, little brothers, sisters. You teach them, hey, it's wrong to hit your sister. You say that it's wrong to lie, that it's wrong to steal, that it's wrong to do this. But at a young age, you're not really explaining to them why it's wrong. You're not giving them the deep philosophical, theological explanation as to why things are wrong. Okay? That comes later on in life with maturity. But what Aristotle says is that it's almost impossible if you don't have the that at the beginning, during your childhood, when you're being raised, if you don't have the that's, he says it's almost impossible to learn the whys later on in life. If you don't have the that's instilled in you, then you're not going to get the deep understanding later on, because you can't understand why lying is wrong if you still haven't gotten it in your mind that lying is wrong. You understand what I'm saying? It makes it that much harder when you don't have that in you. So the reason why that's important and why I bring that up is because I felt like in my life I had missed some big, especially when we talk about Catholicism, because I converted to Catholicism when I was 13. I was the first one outside of my family. And I missed a lot of Catholicism, their teaching. I missed a lot of the that's. Okay? So it was tough for me when I'm in grade school, when I'm in, you know, you get in like 7th and 8th grade, high school, when they're talking about morality and stuff like that. I'm not feeling them on the whys. I got these religious teachers coming up to me talking about, don't do this, don't do that, you know what I mean? And I'm not feeling that because I'm like, that's not what I've seen, you know what I mean? They're coming up, you know, every high school boy knows what I'm talking about. You had the morality classes, right? They're talking to you about, don't do this. If you have sex with somebody, you're going to get STD. You'll probably die by the time you're 15. You know what I mean? That's what they told me when I was 13 years old or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't think that's true. So time goes on, right? I'm just like, I'm not really understanding what this is all about. But the other thing, this is important. I'm glad you reminded me, George. So, you know, I see my man Sam in the back. Sam really likes corny phrases that are used over and over again and stuff like that. He likes corny jokes, you know. And a really commonly used phrase is they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? You'll see like the families, they'll be together and they'll be like, man, that Johnny is just like his dad. I'll tell you, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, you hear people say it. So the same thing happened to me and my family. My dad had 7 kids by 5 different women. So when I'm growing up, you know what I mean? There's a lot of infidelity and stuff in the household. My oldest sister has 4 kids, 4 different guys. My oldest brother's in prison. You know what I mean? So like I didn't have. This is what I'm talking about with the that's missing. You know what I'm saying? So when they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, they're not just talking about the good things, they're also talking about the bad. So when we're talking about these things in morality, like this stuff with girls, I'm not understanding that. When we're talking about honesty and stuff like that, I didn't grow up in an honest household, so I'm sitting here wondering, like, how this doesn't make any sense to me, because I didn't understand that it was wrong. So when they're trying to give me these whys, I'm not feeling it. Okay? So what changed, though, like I said, is education. So now you're wondering, where'd you get this education from? And this is what's important. No matter what stage you are in your faith, no matter where you are, no matter what your life was like, this stuff will relate to you. And I promise if you work on this and you do this tonight, even you, Thomas, that it will help you out and it will push you further. Okay? So it changed for me when I got, especially when I got to college, because I was interested in my faith in high school, but things really changed when I got to college. Okay? When I got to college, I had this great idea. I'm like, I'm a Catholic, right? I'm going to daily mass, I'm in high school, I'm doing these things, and I'm like, you know what would be sick? If I read the Bible. You know what I mean? I'm like, it would be such a great idea if I read the Bible. I should do that sometime, you know what I mean? So I'm like, because I have one, I have some time, I'm in the chapel, I should read the Bible. That'd be a great idea. So I don't know if it was by chance, I can't remember how I came upon it, but anyways, I come to the Sermon on the Mount, which came to be my favorite part. Okay, well, it was like my first part, so I don't know if you can really say it was my favorite. It's like I'm my mom's favorite son, but I'm the only one, you know what I mean? So I don't know how much that really means. But anyways, so I read the Sermon on the Mount, and I don't know how familiar you are with it, but he talks about, it's like the moral code, you know what I mean? He lays out everything for us, how you're supposed to live, and kind of like why you're supposed to live that way. He connects it all together, you know? And it was finally like, when I brought it to prayer, I'm like, I don't really understand why these things are wrong, so if you can help me out, I really appreciate it, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to let you know also, while I talk about this, I'm going to tell you how me and Jesus' conversations go. And it's kind of unorthodox, but me and Jesus, we're close, so it's cool. So, so he finally, I'm reading the Bible, I'm reading this stuff, and I'm like, wow, so that's wrong. And I finally understood it. And then through philosophy, theology classes, you know what I mean? Meeting with Chapman Gallagher, meeting with Luke, all kinds of people helping me out. Chase always, he's good at everything, so, you know, he helps. But, but meeting with these people, along with my Bible reading, I finally got to grasp it. I could understand why things were wrong. And then it was easy, or not easy. Then I had the will to apply those things to my life. Okay? Unfortunately, just wanting to do something and having the knowledge of how to do it doesn't make it easy. All right, so then I'm beginning off, and I'm like, all right, now I gotta start. This is gonna be awesome, right? I'm gonna actually be a Catholic man. This is gonna be pretty sick. But I start off, and I'm talking to people. You know what I mean? I have the seminarians I'm going to, my focus people, all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm hanging out with different crowds on campus. Not always, but you know what I mean? I'm branching out into different groups, surrounding myself with different people, getting different knowledge and stuff, right? But I'm looking around. I got kind of discouraged because I got to a certain point where I'm like, okay, now. I would be talking with certain people, and they'd be sharing their witness stories and stuff like that. And I know Thomas Gallagher and Luke are going to be mad at me for this one, because we always argue about this. But I got to a point where I got discouraged, because I'm like, I wanted to find somebody who could be like a role model for me that I felt, by my standards, had lived the same type of bad past that I had. You know, because I got to a point where I felt like I'm talking to all these people, and this would be like an example. All right, so I'm talking to somebody, I'll be listening to their story, right? And he'd be like, yeah, man, you know, like I was living really bad and things were going horribly, and you know what, I almost underage drank once. You know? And I'm like, if that's what they just call really, really bad, then I don't even know if I know, like if he was like that, how bad were you? I wouldn't know the adjective to describe the way I was living. You know what I'm saying? But that's a problem, right? So I'm like, where's the guy that I was supposed to look up to? You know what I mean? So I'm looking around, and I'm just like, so I go to prayer, I'm mad, right? You know how you go to prayer, you're mad because you think you're smart, and you know stuff. And I'm like, God, you know what would be awesome is if there was somebody in like my circle of influence, my world, the people I associate with, that we could look up to as we try to become better people. You know, we need a role model. Why haven't, I'm just like, so like, why, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't there one of those people for us? And then he's just like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that would be pretty cool if I did that. And I'm like, okay. So then time goes on a little bit, and then finally I realized that what God was really saying was, I want you to be that dude. You know what I mean? So that's what changed everything, is that from now I'm taking, and I'm thinking, I'm like, this would be so awesome. I'm feeling how bad I need this, right? And I'm seeing my other friends struggle with the same things that I'm struggling with. And then finally I realized that he's saying, I need you to be that person. You know, Father Dora he does spiritual direction with me, and he was talking to me about my life and stuff, and he asked me, he said, you know, when I hear all this stuff about you, he said, I don't really understand why you do what you do. He's like, you could just fall off. You know what I'm saying? Because my parents, I wasn't raised going to church. We didn't do anything like that. My dad goes to church sometimes now. My parents got divorced after freshman year at college, and my mom converted to Catholicism, and he's just like, you could just stop everything right now. You know what I mean? Anytime. There's like nothing holding you back. And I realized in this moment, I'm like, it was God that led me to this point. And he wanted me to be that person for other people. You know? And that was kind of tough to take. Because I'm looking for this role model, and I'm like, that's great that other people are going to have that. But I didn't want to have to be that guy. Because that puts a lot more responsibility on you when you're the guy that people are looking to. You know what I'm saying? Even just to be up here in front of you tonight, there's a certain way, like my dear chaplain always talks about living beyond reproach, which means there's a certain way you have to live. You have to carry yourself when people have an expectation of you because they're looking up to you. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. We need to do a decent job of imitating Christ if people are going to imitate you. You know what I mean? So I was not trying to be that guy. I had to deal with that for a long time, going back and forth. So I'm like, okay. So eventually I give up. I give in. I'm like, okay, well, life's going to not going to go that well. Just like they always say, if you're not doing the will of God, you're never going to be happy. Right? So I said, all right, I have to accept this. There's nothing I can do about it now. So I had to think. I had to think. One thing I'm decent at is reasoning. You know, I can reason decently well. You know, I'm not that good at math, but I can reason decently well. Okay? So I reasoned and I'm like, okay, so where do I got to start with this? How can I become a better person? I said, I read the Bible, but you can't just take it all at once. Okay? It's important to have knowledge of the Scripture, and us as Catholics, we do especially lack, in my opinion, compared to a lot of non-denominational people or other religions, in knowledge of the Bible. And I've learned more and more of that as I've learned more and seen my peers not know nearly anything at times. So I said, all right, so I got to learn that, but what else? So I picked a character flaw that I said, all right, so I don't have the other people. I don't have the guy, like, I don't have, in my close circle of influence, I didn't have anybody that I could rely on too much at the time. So I said, okay, if I become more honest, like I said earlier, I didn't grow up in an honest household. I said, if I become more honest, then I can hold myself accountable. Because if I'm more honest, I said, if I choose that I'm going to be honest all the time, then I'm going to live my life in a different way. Because it's like living a life that's open to everybody. You know what I mean? I said, this is what changed. I said, if I'm going to be honest, then I'm going to stop smoking weed because my mom asked me if I smoked weed, I'm not going to want to say yes. You know what I'm saying? If I'm talking to a girl and I'm talking to other girls, I'm not going to want to tell the other girls, so I can't talk to other girls when I'm talking to one. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of things I had to cut off, and I said that this way I'm holding myself accountable because I didn't have the others. So you have to use what you have, or use my reason to make up for the things that I didn't have. Okay? And that's the beautiful thing about life. That goes back to what I was talking about before. Is it matters how you finish. You can't control certain things in your life. You can't control the situation you're born into, the family you get. You have somewhat of control over your friends. But what you can't control is your drive, your passion, the way that you work, the way that you respond to opportunities. And that's why I said this opportunity is so great. One, to speak to you tonight, and just all the ones that I've had leading up to this that I've been able to build up through class, through speaking with seminarians, and just everything, coming to events like this, how important it is to learn these types of things and to think about it, and how you can better yourself in those. So becoming the man. So I started with the honesty, right? And then I said, all right, from here now, I got to, the next thing I got to do is no more excuses. Okay? I was big on the pity party. My life wasn't terrible, but in comparison to some people, it might seem hard. You know what I mean? But I had a lot of excuses. I was like, well, I do this because my dad did this. I was like, I smoked weed because my brother went to jail when I was 5 for smoking weed. My other brother's in prison. You know what I mean? Like, why not? You know what I mean? I was like, oh, my friends do. There's no reason for me really not to. But then I had to come to a point where I said, there's no more excuses. You have to be this man that you read about. The man you read about in the Bible that God's asking you to be. You have to be that guy. There's no more excuses. It doesn't matter what happened to you yesterday, what you do today, and what you do tomorrow. Nothing that happened yesterday is going to influence that. I learned what I could control. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about when I say knowledge changed my life. I learned what I could control. And once I learned what I could control, I started controlling it. Believe that. Right? I said, hey, I can control these things. And the beautiful part is, if you control those things and you do them the right way, then you're going to be happy. And we all know that happiness is the highest good, right? It's for all great philosophy. So, no excuses. And once you realize, once you accept the responsibility of you have to be that person for other people, and you realize that other people need you, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new ball game now. You know what I mean? Because I remember feeling the heartbreak when I remember, like, I was 10. I looked up to my friend up the street. He had a big brother. Everybody looked up to him. And I remember the first day that I came home and I saw him smoking weed. He told me he was high. How disappointed I was. Because at that time, it was like drugs were a big no-no. You know what I mean? I remember all the different things, the different role models I had just gone through in my life. So I'm like, not this guy, not this guy, not this guy. And I accepted this responsibility. And here's a good example of how much this responsibility means to me. Okay, so I know some of you last Sunday, you were there for the cemetery walk, right? Some of you came to the cemetery walk. And I had the honor of playing Martin chorus. Okay, I had a great time with that. So any of you that were involved with that, thank you. But so last Sunday, a few hours before our last walk, I get a call from my dad. My dad says, "Hey son, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Your brother just got arrested, and I gotta go take care of Lemire, who's my nephew, and he's like, and go stay with his girlfriend, take care of some things, right?" I'm like, "All right, no worries. I understand." So we get out of the thing, we finish the walk. I had 4 missed calls from my brother's phone. And I'm like, that's weird because you don't have your cell phone in prison. So I'm like, right? So look, I can reason, right? So I said, okay. So that's strange. So I call him back and talk to his girlfriend. His girlfriend, she's crying, she's upset. She's like, we owe over $1,000. They just moved into the projects because they don't have any money. They've been broke. He just got laid off from his job. They said, we owe $1,000. She's like, I have only $200. I don't know what to do. She said, your dad doesn't have any money. Your sister doesn't have any money. She's like, I got nobody else to go to. She's from Morocco. She doesn't even have any family over there. She's like, I don't know what to do. I said, all right, don't worry about it. So I'll come home tomorrow between my classes, bring you the rest of the money. Get out of class noon on Monday, I go home. Go home, get the money, deal with my mom a little bit, and take the money, right? So I take the money, give it to her. She's got to go to all the different courts, all the different judges, and pay off the fines that he owes at different places. Because he was in prison indefinitely. You know what I mean? He wasn't getting out for a certain time. And mind you, this is the same brother that when I was young would ignore me. When I was young would push me aside. That I would cry night after night because my brothers and sisters didn't like me because my dad lived with us and lived with them on and off, but not as much. I was his favorite child, and all my siblings resented me. So it made it tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, it made it tough. One of my key points later on, I don't want to get too off track. One of my key points is that if it's not hurting you at times to be Catholic, to be a good Christian, then you're not trying hard enough. Because you got to be pushing yourself over and over again. Just like you're in the weight room. You know what I mean? If you're not getting sore, then you're not getting stronger. And you should never be satisfied with where you are. So I was like, it's tough to give it to him. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have the best path. We didn't have the best path, but I'm like, he's my brother. I got the money. It's over his freedom. And he's not going to sit in jail any longer. I take it home, right? I'm like, I'll watch Lemire. You go take care of business, right? So I was like, him running around is going to take up a lot of unnecessary time. So I'm sitting there with Lemire. This is when it all comes back. I know I went off track a little bit, but this is when it all comes back. I'm sitting there with Lemire. I'm like, this is funny. I got to tell you this. So I'm tired, right? Because we had PT that morning, you know. So I'm like, yo, Lemire, man, it's nap time, right? So I can see my man's tired, but he gets hyped when I come home. So I'm like, Lemire, it's nap time, and he's like, Uncle Nathan, no, it's not. We went through that like 6 times, man. I'm like, Lemire, it's nap time. He's like, come on, man. I'm like, all right, so we'll stay up, we'll watch the Spider-Man, right? So eventually my man fell asleep, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him, and this is what motivates me, is when you accept this responsibility. This is what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here looking at him, thinking his mom's going to pick his dad up from prison, okay? I said, he will not go through the same thing that I went through with having a lack of role models that I had to go through. Because I can't control the fact that I didn't have that role model in my life. But what I can control is that the people that are around me, the people who I can be that role model for, that they won't have to look hard for their role model. I'll be right there. But whether he wants a role model for athletics, whether he wants it for faith, whether he wants it for academics, no matter what. That's why I strive to be as well-rounded as I can be, because there's no way, I said to myself, there's no way that I'm going to let that happen to anybody else. So I remember how much I hated it. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at Lemire, look at my other nephews and nieces, and I look at my friends, anybody that I can influence, I said, don't worry about looking for a role model, because I'm going to be here for you. You know what I mean? We take on that weight. George likes to joke around that in our intramural basketball team, right? He would be like, oh, you know, like the other guys on the team, man, because we're the 2 best players on the team. He's like, and Chase knows. Chase knows. I don't want to talk trash right now. I'll save it for later. So he'd be like, the other guys on the team would be like, oh, well, who cares that I'm tired today? At least we got Nate and George. And George would be like, yeah, who cares that I'm tired today? At least I got Nate. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm tired today. You know what I mean? But I guess we gotta go play, right? You know? So that was why I came to that same position in my life. And I said, there's nowhere to go to, but what did I do? I went to God. It was almost better because I wasn't relying on man, but I was going straight to God, and he was like my tutor. You know what I mean? I was learning all these things directly through him. And the most important thing, like I just said, is if it doesn't hurt, you're not trying hard enough. You should be exhausting yourself, pushing yourself all the time, trying to get better. And one thing that I want to stress on as I end is that it's not easy. You know what I mean? It wasn't easy for me to drive home. I missed class, had to give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is not easy. I'm tired, I'm frustrated. I didn't feel like babysitting. You know what I mean? My dad couldn't come see my thing. It's not fair. When I said I had to stop making excuses, that didn't make my life more fair. Those unfair things were still happening. I just had to get over. You understand what I'm saying? So these unfair things, you got to accept that life's not going to be fair. You have to anticipate that bad things are going to happen. But the great thing is, as Kelly Donald knows, is that it's worth it. Is that it's worth it. In Romans chapter 8, I remember Kelly sent me this like 6 months ago. And it says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy in comparison to the glory that will be revealed to us." You know, yeah, my man reading. And that's the thing you got to keep in mind all the time. You know, we had this question on our quiz today in theology that was about that. And George asked, my friend George asked the prodigal son. He asked his older brother, "Is the good guy always moves out?" And the important thing, this is exactly what I wrote to the teacher. I said, I would have slapped George if I was there when he asked the question. You know what I mean? So we'll see if she laughs or she hates that when she reads my answers. But I said, no, the good guy doesn't always lose out. It's unfair, but you keep your mind on the end goal, the purpose, what you were made for, fulfilling your purpose and loving other people. Just as Kara said so beautifully in her letter. So the last thing I want to end with is one of my favorite Bible verses. All right? So this is in St. Paul's letter to Timothy. And I love when people have them memorized and say them, so I hope you enjoy it. And then start memorizing the Bible too, because it's like the greatest thing in the world. All right? So hopefully I won't mess this up, because I literally memorized it this morning. Okay? Actually, it was yesterday. I lied. All right. So he said, "I thank our Lord Jesus Christ, who gives me strength, that he considered me trustworthy, appointing me to his service. Even though I was one time a blasphemer, a persecutor, and a violent man, I was shown mercy because I had acted in ignorance and unbelief. Yeah. The grace of our Lord was poured out on me abundantly, along with the faith and love that are in Jesus Christ. This is a trustworthy saying and one that is deserving of full acceptance, that Jesus Christ came down to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. But I received mercy for this reason, that through me, as the worst, Jesus Christ might show his perfect patience to all those who would believe in him for eternal life." That's beautiful. Read the Bible, be honest, hold yourself accountable, accept responsibility, stop making excuses, push yourself, be great. That's all.